Day 1 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine is over. So I'm opening it up and you're going to be able to see how gross it is. The previous owners left a lot of their stuff in there and it's mixed with our new stuff, so it's just a hot mess. I'm putting on my protective gear because I don't want to get any spiders, bites, or any grossness on my hands. But as you can see, it's super dirty. I'm going to have to sweep it out. But I'm going to first start with just taking everything out and putting it in my yard. I'm recondoing the heck out of this shed because nothing sparks joy and it's terrible and dirty. But if you see that little loft above, I'm going to have to get all that wood down. And when I started to get it down, stuff started getting my eyes. So boom, put on some protective gear. The helmet didn't make sense. I don't know why I put it on, but it's on. So I started taking it down. It was going well. There's my dad. And after I took everything out, I had to deal with this shelving unit, and boom, it's all pretty and all better, but I'm gonna have to take it out, so no, it's gross. Snap, it's all done. But I wish I would have edited this in TikTok because it looks a lot better. But there we go, that's my she shed. Stay tuned for part 2. Part 2 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. So after taking out all the stuff yesterday, you could see that this shed was completely and utterly disgusting. So I grabbed my shop vac and I started to blow a lot of it out, and it got in my eyes and my mouth, so I found this mask that didn't work, and this one ended up working because the other one was broken. It was supposed to be for spring break and snorkeling, but ripped spring break because Corona. So I changed it to the sucking feature, the vacuuming, and I vacuumed up a dead mouse. So goodbye, mouse. I said goodbye to it in the forest, and I kept, vacuuming up all the stuff. And these are the most satisfying clips that I found, but this took hours and hours and hours. But I started to see progress, and that was encouraging. So there we go. Kept sucking up all the nasty dirt, and even some spider webs, and this was gross because I thought one was going to get in my hair or get mad at me and fall on my clothes. But it worked out fine, and this is what it looked like in the end, so stay tuned for part 2. I think I'm going to power wash tomorrow. Bye! Day 3 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. So last night we brainstormed some ideas about the layout, but that's for a completely other video. So I emptied it out, and I started to hammer down these nails coming through the roof because it would make painting really hard, and today was just kind of a prepping for paint day. So my parents helped me because it took forever, and then I had to take off these things from the wall. Adela came over and she started to help me power wash the rug. We cut it to size last night, and we started to just power wash all the dirt and grime out of it, and I spot cleaned while she pushed the nastiness off the rug. So she got distracted with power washing the cement, but we kept going, and I kept scrubbing, and we made some major progress today. It's super satisfying. There's some more power washing videos. Next, Grace came over, and she helped paint some of the furniture we made. We made that thing last night, and it's like a TV stand. I took this bleach solution, and I started to disinfect the entire thing. Me and Adela started to dry out the rug, and there was a lot to do today, so stay tuned for part 4. Day 4 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. Today was by far the longest because it took hours to scrub out the years of dirt from the shed, although it ended up smelling super good in the end. I'm really excited with how it turned out, and I cannot wait for you guys to see the color of our accent wall. Can you guess what it's going to be? After power washing out all of the soap, I saw the roof and I decided to clean it up a little bit. Then after letting the shed dry, I got to caulking and sealing out all of the bugs and nasty critters. The next clips are of me using a beadboard from our last home renovation to attach to the south wall of the shed. With the help of my parents and some power tools, I finally got the job done. Also, we saw an alive mouse today, which was different from the last time I saw one. Stay tuned for part 5 and have a great day. Bye! Day 5 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. Today I decided that I needed to clean and trim out the spider-infested window. I started by cutting blocks to make sure the trim was flush with the wall. Next I made sure that the blocks fit into place and I hammered them in. Then I went upstairs into my extremely creepy barn and I found some old oak trim to use. I'm surprised I didn't see my little mouse friend. Then I learned how to miter, and with the help of my little brother I cut the pieces into place and finished the job. Ta-da! This next part is of me painting the accent wall, and you guys guessed it. It's a light yellow, and it doesn't show up that well on camera, but it's really pretty in person, I promise. Finally, I started painting the rest of the shed white, and I didn't insulate for a variety of reasons, but mostly because it's not in my non-existent budget. And although I would love to someday, I didn't. Anyway, stay tuned for part 6, and comment down below some easy DIYs. Day 7 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. Yesterday, my mom and I stood on these pallets and gave the ceiling and walls a second coat of white paint. After letting it dry overnight, I went back in with my brush and painted all the spots that the rollers couldn't reach. This was a very tedious process and took an absurd amount of time, but that's okay. Then I went in with some more caulking and was finally able to take off the blue masking tape from the beams. Then it got really cold out and started to snow a little, so I grabbed my red space heater and some string lights and began to paint one last coat of white on the back wall. Finally, I fixed any imperfections on the yellow accent wall and removed everything from out of inside the shed. If you couldn't tell, I got a little excited. Finally, I swept out the shed and put down the carpet. This was no easy task alone, but it ended up working out. I cut the carpet exactly to size and added some wood trim to the back wall. Then I vacuumed and called it a day. I cannot wait to get out of these clothes because I've been painting in them for 3 days. But stay tuned for part 8. Bye. Day of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. So today I decided to construct a pallet daybed. My brother and father picked up a few old pallets for me, and I stacked 3 on top of each other in 3 columns. Then I went into my barn and measured this large piece of wood siding. Next I cut it to size and I laid it on top of the pallets. Then my mom and I grabbed this old mattress from our basement and put it on top. I cannot wait to decorate it. Then we started to wrap the lights around the beams and even added some mood lighting between the pallets. There's my dog Billy. Next, I added some nails to the walls for the lights to rest on. And as you can see, I have 12 of these little circle vents that let loads of cold air in, so I found this old blanket and I cut some fabric to fill in the holes. It ended up being really effective, but I saw a spider and that was no fun. Finally, I grabbed an old stick and put some curtains on it, and I actually hung it up with 2 hat hooks. Thank you guys so much for 2 million, this is absolutely insane. But we're getting to the last stretch of the shed renovation, so stay tuned for part 9. Bye! Day 9 of turning my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. We started out the day by making sure our piece of wood was level, marking it on the wall, and adding L brackets to the 2x4s. This resulted in a floating TV stand, although I still have to paint the exposed wood on the side. Next, I removed my makeshift entryway and headed upstairs to the barn to grab some wood for the deck. We used 6 pallets and pushed them into place in front of the shed. Then I lost my normal protective goggles and had to go back to the Speedo ones. I cut the barn wood to size, made sure it was sturdy, nail gunned the pallets to each other, and did the same to the wood on top of the pallets. My parents helped me take off the door, cut off the rotten part, and then they helped me put it back on. In the end, this was an extremely taxing project that took a little over a day. It resulted in 1 rolled ankle, a contusion to the head, and a lot of splinters. But in the end, it was totally worth it. The deck is awesome, and as you can see, my dog thinks so too. Anyways, stay tuned for part 10. Bye! My name's Chloe, and on a whim, I decided to turn my shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. It took an insane amount of work, and I decided to document it for fun. But then as the followers started to grow, so did the workload. I did a bunch of cleaning, painting, cutting, and just learning so many new things, like never strip your screws, and for the love of all things, do not get paint in your hair. I enjoyed watching the progress each day, and so did you all. In the end, my nasty old shed went from this to this. Inside, I have a mini fridge, small table and chair, a daybed, 4-foot beanbag, and a mirror and shoe area. Big thanks to our sweet friends the Lefferings for donating the beanbag. For reference, I'm about 5'10", and this thing fits me very comfortably. Also, I added locks to the door, and the hanging plants and other greenery really just bring life to the space. You'd also be surprised how warm it gets with just a little space heater. As for the outside, we surrounded the porch with tiki torches, but plan on adding lights in the future. Overall, this has been a crazy ride, and I thank you all for sticking with me. With all this time on my hands, I might need to start another project. What do you think? Bye!